I spent $150 to learn to kite. Oh my god. Welcome to Hua Hin Beach. This is the #1 kite surfing spot in Thailand. Today I will be showing you what 90 USD or 130 CAD or 3,000 baht gets me in Thailand for kite surfing lessons. I took my kite surfing lesson at the Duotone Kite Surf shop located just along Hua Hin Beach, but I checked the pricing of other kite surf shops nearby and they all are essentially the same. There are a ton of different ways to experience kite surfing in Hua Hin. I chose the intro course where me and 2 friends split 2 instructors for 2 hours because this was all of our first time, so we could take it more easy. But there are also numerous one-on-one programs where you can do 10 hours with an instructor for 18,000 baht. But there are also packages called the Hua Hin Experience where you can do 5 to 14 days of training and equipment rental for anywhere upwards of 35,000 baht. And now, let's go kite surfing! We started off the day real strong when I woke up in the morning with a neck spasm. So I ran to 7-Eleven and got this heated medicated plaster and did a ton of stretching to hopefully figure it out because I did not want to miss out on my first kite surfing lesson. Then we headed on over to the kite surf shop where they have all of their stuff and we went upstairs to get changed. So technically my very first time kite surfing was when I was 11 or 12 in Cuba, and it actually scarred me because I didn't have a proper instructor, and so they just let me grab a kite and I ended up getting pulled so high up by the wind and almost hurt myself pretty badly on my way back down. So I was actually really nervous when I was getting changed into my kite surfing gear that the club was provided. But we face our fears and this time make sure we're properly equipped with sunscreen and all of the necessary gear and equipment we need to be successful. After spending a good 15 minutes of putting on clothes, getting our helmets, getting all of the necessary gear fitted to our bodies, we were finally ready to go. I also drank some extra Gatorade before I left to prevent my neck and trap muscles from spasming anymore. Our instructors also advised us to tie our sunglasses with a string so they don't fall off our face as well. My brother didn't have any, so our instructor let him borrow his. And then we were on our way. The shop is a short 3-minute walk away from the staff started pumping up the first kite, while the instructor pulled us aside and gave us a quick lesson on wind directions, wind speeds, and the best place to have your kite up in the air. After that, he explained more about the kite itself and got us to help pump up the second kite that we'd be using for the lesson. We also learned to stop and check to make sure that we were pumping up the kite to the right PSI. Then he helped us set up the lines and the control bar. And now came one of the most important parts of the lesson, where he showed us how to actually use the bar to control the kite. We talked about the D-power system and which way to pull and push to make sure that we could control the kite and not fly away or get overpowered. I watched so many YouTube videos on how to do this online, but it was really helpful for him to walk us through it in person. And lastly, he showed us how to actually link the kite to the line and the control bar. See, now this is very important because it kind of comes back to bite me in the butt later on. But for now, we are ready for liftoff. One of the other instructors helped us get the kite into the air, and then we were ready to start the official lesson. We waddled into the water behind him and took turns trying what we had just done with the control bar on land without a kite, in the water with a kite. The instructor was super patient with us as we tried to figure out how to push and pull in the right ways without getting too much lift from the kite. I watched my brother try this first and was like, oh, that looks so easy. And then I went and tried it and it was actually a bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Managing how to handle your power in order to control the kite was a little weird. And I think mostly it was because I was quite anxious that I would hurt my trap and shoulders and neck more than I already had. And I was still pretty nervous from my childhood kite surfing trauma. But honestly, I quickly realized I had nothing to worry about when the other instructor that we had was this badass woman in her 60s who started kite surfing almost 20 years ago, so when she was 40 for the very first time, and now is like a pro kite surfer and instructor. After we got a hang of the basics of keeping the kite between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, we had earned the right from our instructor to try playing with the power of the kite more. He started by guiding our hands to twist totally far from the center line. This caused the kite to pick up a ton of power when it dove and really pulled you very quickly from one side to another. I was pretty nervous here that my traps and my shoulders wouldn't be able to handle it, But honestly, in the spur of the moment and being so focused on where the kite was going, I didn't really feel any pain at all. And then came the fun part, possibly the favorite part of the lesson for me. Learning how to body surf with the kite. It was a little bit challenging to start. As you can see, it's a little hard to keep your balance when the kite is pulling you left, right, and center and water is splashing up onto your face every time. You really have to learn how to control the kite without always looking at the kite. And sometimes that doesn't work so well. My brother crashed the kite, but our pro instructor got it up again in no time and I got to try body surfing too. Initially, the instructor stayed pretty close by to make sure I was handling the kite well and could do it, but I was able to pick it up pretty quickly and was soon able to do it all on my own. Once I could do it on my own, we did quite a few iterations where I would fly forward a couple of meters and then walk back again and reiterated that. This really helped to secure my skills and also make sure that I wasn't getting too far out of reach so I was still safe. My brother and I, if you can even tell us apart from the back of our heads in our matching outfits, truly had such a blast, as you can probably see. It almost feels like you're flying every single time you pull the kite another way. I think already at this point I was feeling pretty satisfied with everything that I had learned in the hours so far. And we still had another almost hour to go left of the lesson. Alright, up next we are going down into the deep water, so I will have to leave my phone here. But hopefully it goes well. In order to go down into the deep water, as I mentioned, we needed to switch to a longer line. So we took a little break from the body surfing and went up to the beach and helped our instructor set up this new line onto our kite. This time, we were the ones to set it up mostly ourselves. The instructor was there to watch us and make sure that we were still doing the basics correctly, but for the most part, it was now our responsibility to make sure that the kite was set up and ready to go for our next kite surfing adventure. We thought we did a pretty good job, but maybe we celebrated too early. You'll see what I mean. After the kite was ready, the instructor actually decided that maybe we didn't have quite enough time to go into the deep water, and instead it would be more fun and rewarding for us to actually try surfing on a board. This was pretty cool because even at the start of the lesson, the instructor was very clear to say, in a 2-hour lesson, you might not get the opportunity to actually try on a board. This is because 2 hours is honestly not a really long time to learn how to kite surf. However, we had a pretty awesome instructor, and I guess our skills were good enough that we could actually try being on a board. As you can see, this was a little tough. That was me trying to get on the board for a little while, and after crashing a couple times, I wasn't really able to get myself back up again. I'm just kind of flopped in the water with the board attached to me, kind of like a dead fish, not really able to stand back up again. I struggled against the kite and bobbed around for a little while longer before the instructor finally came and saved me because I clearly was not able to get back up. Then it was my brother's turn and he was doing well until all of a sudden the kite went down. You can see here the instructor desperately telling him to release the quick release safety system so that he can detach himself from the rogue kite. Turns out, we messed up. It broke! Remember when I said that this was really important? Yeah, we didn't do it right. And that's what broke that caused the kite to go down. Thankfully, our instructor was a pro and was able to reattach the kite and get us back out of the water in record time. I think this only caused an 8-minute delay to our overall lesson. In the final 20 or so minutes left of the lesson, my brother and I took turns trying to get ourselves on the board and getting our kite to cooperate with us and hopefully drag us a little bit further into the water. There's actually so much to think about with kite surfing, from trying to balance on the board to trying to control the kite in the right way so you get enough power, but also not too much power. But overall, this was such a fun experience, and I think it's safe to say that we were both able to kite surf a little bit by the end of the lesson. There are definitely so many areas to improve on, and by no means am I a kite surf pro